Seems like every week another shady cast of characters opens an office right here in D.C. From neocon think tanks to lobbying firms, everything that happens on the Hill legislatively can usually be traced back to one of the many special interest groups on or around the infamous K Street. And last April, just a few blocks down from the White House, D.C. was graced with the grand opening of the office for the terrorist group Mujadeen Al-Kalk. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say terrorist group? I meant former terrorist organization. Big diff, guys. See, before the Iranian Revolution, this militant group carried out a string of terrorist attacks, including the bombing of 10 buildings and assassinations of 6 American citizens. According to NBC's Richard Engel, the MEK also conducted a series of assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists back in 2012 in coordination with Israel's Secret Service Mossad, who his sources allege to be the lead financiers and trainers of the MEK. But that's far from the entirety of their criminal conduct. In 1981, the MEK is alleged to have bombed the headquarters of the Islamic Republican Party, resulting in the deaths of 73 Iranian officials. In fact, hilariously, when George W. Bush was scrambling to justify the invasion of Iraq, he had the audacity to point to Saddam's support for international terrorism as rationale. Wild guess on who that international terrorist group was. Yep, the MEK, for their role in the deaths of Americans. So after all of this, how is it even possible that this group is not only considered a terrorist organization anymore, but also has an office front in D.C.? Well, it's all the result of a well-oiled lobbying campaign, where front groups representing MEK spent millions of dollars in donations to Congress and PR groups, as well as to influential politicians to speak at events on its behalf. Democrats and Republicans alike, from Howard Dean to John McCain, have lobbied ferociously for this group to be delisted after accepting tens of thousands of dollars in political bribes to do so. As Glenn Greenwald points out, no matter what one thinks of this group, it's formally designated as a terrorist group, and thus a felony under U.S. law to provide it with any, quote, material support. Which makes one wonder how these officials were able to accept this money legally without a peep from anyone decrying Islamic extremism, especially considering how organizations donating to Gaza have been charged with providing material support for terrorism, as well as individuals in this country for simply posting links to jihadi websites. Needless to say, I guess money talks, because the pro-MEK campaign worked wonders, with nearly 100 representatives backing legislation that officially delisted the group from the State Department's terrorist list in 2012 once and for all. And since opening their office next to Obama's house, the MEK has produced reports published in major papers like the Wall Street Journal, with falsities and exaggerations about Iran's nuclear program. Clearly, its goal matches many in the U.S. governments who are trying to throw a wrench in Iran's nuclear negotiations and are far more interested with overthrowing the Iranian regime. So if this egregious double standard tells us anything at all, it's this: as long as terrorist groups are allied with our interests, then the war on terror no longer applies.